The University of California, Berkeley was ordered by the state Supreme Court last week to cut its expected enrollment for next year by nearly 3,000 students. The ruling also requires the university to conduct further environmental review of controversial off-campus faculty housing projects.
The San Francisco Chronicle reports that this project is considered to be in violation of the California Environmental Quality Act. The law's critics say it's been unfairly wielded by wealthy Berkeley homeowners to stifle new developments in the city's urban areas. And they're right, because that's exactly what this is. This is pathetic, miserable, evil NIMBYism. This is why everything costs so much. This is why housing costs so much, when you wield environmental law to prevent people from living where they want to live or developing new things. And that, so yeah, this is totally absurd. It's insane and bad and wrong, and that's how I feel about it. So
second that.
I dare you to disagree. Anyone.
So we looked I just wanted to look this up just so that we knew, because we were trying to figure out how many students were actually at UC Berkeley. So actually, it's way bigger than I actually thought.
I said Berkeley, 20. What is it?
I thought it was smaller than that. It's actually 43,000 students were enrolled in 2020, and but they only have housing and beds apparently for 9,800 students. So all of those other students are having to find housing inside of the Bay Area, somewhere else in the Bay Area. And so that's the issue.
What's so outrageous about this is that finding housing for college students is the easiest possible thing you can do. Like, you build a gigantic tower and put a bunch of dorm rooms in it.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
You don't even have to do fancy, expansive 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. You just stick.
You can do four people to a 2-bedroom
a little pod
apartment.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
I had a roommate for until my 3rd year of college, I think.
But that would require building something higher than 2 stories.
Yeah.
And God forbid anybody in Berkeley allow something like that.
God forbid, they're precious. We would have this debate. So I went to the University of Michigan. It was a little bit different, but the university is very integrated with the city of Ann Arbor. And it was the same thing. The residents, these so-called progressive liberals who care about poverty and homelessness, etc., would the BS they would come up with to justify preventing the development of affordable housing, of large. You just need large structures that lots of people can fit in. I would hear the most ridiculous thing. Oh, well, wouldn't it be windier if there was another tall building? Crap like that you would hear from people. No, it's not going to be windier if you build another building.
Yeah, but this whole thing with Berkeley is really interesting, because we've got one of the most liberal universities in the country, maybe arguably the most liberal university in the nation, maybe even in the world, we could say. And it's pitting them against environmentalists, but then people are saying, no, the homeowners are actually hiding behind the environmentalists, that the rich homeowners don't, that they don't want. Mm-hmm. So they're making these claims. So it's really interesting to read about this, because it's like the environmental impact, you've got one side saying, well, the environmental impact is so great that you can't have all of these students, and you've got it pitted against one of the nation's most liberal universities. So kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out.
It's just with the Endangered Species Act, because of the Endangered Species Act, if you find an endangered species on your property, you have to immediately kill it. You have to kill the animal before anyone is aware that it's there.
What?
Because they'll turn your property into a nature preserve or something if you discover it's true.
Don't do that.
Oh, really? No, Robby, do not.
Oh no, the eagle is nesting on my land. Kill it now.
I definitely knew people on the Eastern Shore who, if an eagle tried nesting on top of a piling in a river or something, they would go out and at night dismantle it.
Yep.
Really?
As quickly as they could, because once it's in, and there's a couple other species as well. Once it's in, then now you can't dock there. You can't it becomes a gigantic
mess. So there's a bunch
so people would go in and illegally dismantle it before anybody noticed.
They can have my house. I'll let them have it.
Just find a new house. Yeah.
I'll just find a new house.
They'll put the bald eagle and the college students in your house, Kim, down in LA.
Well, in LA, they let the college students sleep in the cars. They came out with this news article a few months ago where they're proud of themselves that they were allowing homeless college students to start sleeping in at least the school's parking lots. So they'd let them park there overnight and give them access to showers, and they were so proud of that. Look at what we're doing.
Well, isn't that nice? How nice of them.
Yeah.
But
How about we build more houses?
Yeah, the climate solution is denser housing. And that's the thing that
taller buildings
on the grounds of environmentalism, these NIMBYs are protesting. This ruling comes as new data collected on the Amazon rainforest shows that it's harrowingly close to reaching a tipping point, after which the rainforest would, quote, be lost with profound implications for the global climate and biodiversity. According to The Guardian, the new analysis is based on real-world satellite observations over the past 30 years. The data doesn't predict when this point might occur, but researchers warned that by the time humankind can detect such a trigger, it would be too late to stop it. And what's different about this research is it's not a model. You get the people who go on Rogan and will tell you, well, who's that? Jordan Peterson was like, you can't model the world. The world is too complicated. Why are you even trying to model the world? This isn't a model. This is a satellite image of the shrinking. This is pictures. Like, this is in front of our face. And once the Amazon is a kind of net producer of carbon rather than a net sink of carbon, that's where the runaway climate change comes from. I would love to be one of the people that thinks that this is no big deal. So how would you talk me off the ledge?
I feel like we just hear this a lot, and it never happens. It's always, oh yes, now the tipping point. It's right about to happen to the rainforest be gone. Like, they've been saying that my whole life.
But these are satellite pictures saying that it's like
Aren't they adding,
massively
I thought they're adding trees back to forests all the time because now we're more concerned about deforestation. We understand the problem better. We plant more trees, that whole kind of thing.
What this found is that the attempts to regenerate in the rainforest are no longer as efficient and effective as they used to be around roads and around farmland. And roads and farmland are cutting through the entire rainforest. And so we go out and we try to plant a tree or whatever, and the rainforest is like, no, I'm gone. Because if you look at where the rainforest is and compare it to Africa, that's sub-Saharan. So once that rainforest is gone, be like, well, yeah, let's just go plant some trees in the Sahara. No, it's too complex an ecosystem than that.
Right, and it is very complex. And I think maybe something that the critics would say is that the Earth changes a lot, and at one point Antarctica was potentially, a beautiful tropical rainforest, and maybe Africa was at one point as well. And so there's just kind of this ever-shifting where, and maybe there's a good reason for that we don't understand, that the Earth, I mean, just from a simple perspective, it's sort of like farming. You can't constantly farm in the same spot over and over and over again without causing a lot of problems with the soil. And so perhaps the globe, sort of transfers its rainforests around from time to time. And
except
next thing you know, we're living in one.
Overall,
it's like the ants. They march off to Lord of the Rings.
Right, so maybe.
No, but actually, I agree with you, Kim. Right, we had ice ages because the Earth used to be a lot colder. Even in the Middle Ages, there was the medieval warming period, which allowed for the discovery of Greenland and even some pretend little colonies, right, in northeastern shores of Canada. Then it got a lot colder. They had to all go back to Iceland or where else they came from. That would not be good. We don't want the Earth to be really cold, but the point being that there's not some natural, beautiful state of nature where the Earth is just harmonious and perfect, and then humans came and messed it up, right? We are part of the Earth. We are organisms ourselves. We are the masters of the Earth. We can mold it and shape it to our satisfaction, and it doesn't seem to me that we are beyond our capabilities through our innovation and our technology to solve these problems.
Well, the climate has definitely shifted before, but right now it's shifting in direct correlation with carbon emissions.
Right.
So whether it's harmonious,
I agree they're affecting it. No disagreement here.
And if
not making any claims that would bother any platforms that don't allow for free thought and discussion.
I'm glad we're banned. This is outrageous.
You want to make sure no one hears the climate denialism that I'm putting out there.
Exactly. Yeah. But to your point, if technological progress is going to be the thing that drags us out of this, the hundreds of billions of dollars in tax credits that will stimulate that development in Build Back Better, really have to be passed. A decade ago, 2 decades ago, 100 years ago would have been better. But now is the last chance that the U.S. Congress is going to have to do it, because Democrats are going to lose control in the fall. That's pretty clear. And who knows when they're going to regain power. So this is it. Like, this is their shot to stimulate the kind of technological progress that you're talking about.
If you say
Unless
so.
it's just done on the private sector, which I think the private sector is moving
Private
in that
sector is
direction
ready
anyway.
to do it, but they need
Right.
those incentives because they're up against an
It
incumbent
helps,
industry.
for sure. It helps, but really when consumers see cool stuff, consumers want that cool stuff. So, people want Teslas because they're cool.
Right, but more consumers, for instance, were able to buy solar panels when there was a tax credit that came with it. Like, that's cool. Ooh, $70,000.
Well, they're going to
No, I
want
can't
solar
do that.
panels because no one's going to want to pay for gas.
Well, absolutely.
Right,
All of a sudden, that's
that,
looking pretty good.
I always bring up with solar panels, you have to convince your neighbors vis-a-vis the local government board to even let you do it. So there, we can all agree on that.
Most bizarre thing in the country is that there are basically no solar panels in Florida.
I like how Robby always tries to end the conversation with, "We all agree on my libertarian principles," right? We all agree here. And now we got to go.
Murder the endangered species if they land on your.
And we all agree.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely ban us. That's terrible stuff. All right.
Tomorrow on Rising.
If it exists.
Tomorrow on Rising, Reason Magazine's Nancy Rommelman will join us to discuss her reporting on Ukraine.
And Max Alvarez and Denise Long are in for our Rising panel.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And also listen to our podcast and find us on TikTok, right? We got all these other things, all these other ways to find us. Yes. You'll never be alone.
And even if you don't listen to the podcast, go rate it and review it. Give it 5 stars.
Yeah.
Because that helps people find it.
5 stars.
Absolutely.
For all of us, yes.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.